Hours drive southwest of Goldsboro is Sampson County, and we've seen scenes like this. I flew in Chopper 11 HD yesterday over the Black River and saw neighborhood after neighborhood and a lot of farmland absolutely flooded out. One of the hardest hit areas in the county is the town of Ivanhoe. It's near the Bladen County line. Heather Wallaga got a boat tour of that area today and brings us the latest at this hour.
Residents here are calling this the 500-year flood. They say they've never seen anything like it, not even after Hurricane Floyd. Right now, about 30 roads in the county are closed, including this one, and a bridge a couple miles to the right here is about to collapse. That's what we are hearing. Many homes here are now islands, and people are having to use boats just to get around.
It's been pretty crazy out here.
Robert Rankin is using a canoe to get to and from his house in Ivanhoe.
I couldn't get back over here at night, and this morning I just got this little boat and paddled over to the house. I got some clothes. I'm gonna take a shower now.
The small town among the hardest hit in Sampson County. These aerial photos from an ABC 11 eyewitness show homes in the neighboring town of Rowan cut off by floodwater. Residents calling it unprecedented.
Well, it was just a very sad day. I've never experienced anything like it, knowing that I had to leave my home and that it might ever be the same again.
The Black River rose to more than 27 feet Tuesday, well above flood stage. Crews have conducted more than 50 water rescues per day since Monday. At Emergency Management Services, it's all hands on deck.
We have a significant number of people still without power, and those without power, some of them are still stranded.
The county is now asking for federal aid to help with the cleanup. It could still be days or even weeks before the water recedes. The water is starting to recede in Ivanhoe, but the county is still in response mode. One shelter remains open, and churches in the area are providing what they are calling mass feedings. FEMA is also here today to assess the damage. In Sampson County, Heather Wallaga, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
This afternoon, some people are just being allowed back in their homes. Heather Wallaga starts our live team coverage there. Heather, sadly, some of those homes have been condemned.
That's right, Anna. You know, this is the first time that many residents in the area are getting a look at the damage for themselves. This home here has been marked with a red X, which means it has been condemned by the city, but much of the neighborhood is still cut off by the flood water. And as it begins to recede, we're starting to get a first look at what is left behind, including some cars there off in the distance that you can see just beginning to surface. The southwest part of Goldsboro near the Neuse River took a beating in this flood. Much of it hasn't even been accessible until today. Highway 117 is finally back open in both directions, but some areas are still underwater and it could be shut down for weeks. We met one resident today who evacuated over the weekend before the water started rising, and he counts himself as one of the lucky ones. He got about 1.5 feet of water, but his house wasn't severely damaged. He spent the day power washing his possessions and trying to clean up.
Sunday morning, the only thing it was a little blockage down there, probably about 10 feet high. That was it. And then, but after they told everybody 2 o'clock to evacuate, I saw the water rise here more.
You're going to see a lot of really sad faces because a lot of these houses are ruined, and people either will have to do extensive repairs or maybe even not go back to some of them.
Yeah, and the mayor tells me that a lot of people here are staying with friends and family, but many of them don't have flood insurance. He says his biggest concern right now is what these people will do in the long term when they find out they can't go back home. Live in Goldsboro, Heather Wallaga, ABC 11 Eyewitness News. Back to you.
And what their home will look like when they get there. Just total devastation, Heather. Thank you for that story.
The Neuse River exceeded record flood stage by 10 inches. The aftermath of this relentless storm is not only disrupting lives, it's disturbing the dead. Heather Wallaga is live in Goldsboro to explain what happened. Heather?
Well, Tisha, before we get to that, this is the on-ramp to US 117, and it's pretty backed up. We were trying to get to Elmwood Cemetery, but it took about 30 minutes just to go a mile. This highway just reopened today to traffic again at the cemetery, which is just down the road. More than 30 caskets surfaced in the floodwater. The city now having to store them in a refrigerated truck until they can sort them out, and city officials say it could still be days before the floodwaters fully recede.
I never seen nothing like it.
Crystal Bryson is among the dozens of people still unable to return home who lined up to get free bottled water in Goldsboro.
The max we can do is 2.
JB Rhodes Funeral Home bought more than 500 cases to hand out to struggling flood victims.
Some families have lost everything, and a lot of families don't have insurance. So I'm sure FEMA will facilitate these families. But yeah, I've seen a lot of people in need right now.
In southwest Goldsboro, residents returned to their homes for the first time to get a look at the damage. Dwayne Greenfield is one of the lucky ones.
He's flooded out over here next door, and the one over here is flooded out too.
He spent the day power washing his possessions, soaked in 1.5 feet of water. The city has condemned several of his neighbors' homes, many now forced to stay with relatives or in shelters.
That's my biggest concern today is next week these people are going to come back and they don't have a home to go to. And what are we going to do as leaders to find them somewhere to stay? Because nobody wants to be in a shelter, and we don't want them to be in shelters any longer than they have to.
Wayne County, among the poorest areas in eastern North Carolina, is getting state and federal assistance. For the many residents who don't have flood insurance, the wait for help could be long. And for the ones who do, the cleanup is only just beginning.
A lot of the local folks are kind of stuck, not knowing what to do, waiting on insurance, waiting on someone to help them because they've never been in this situation.
And Governor McCrory toured the flood damage here in Goldsboro yesterday. He called it surreal. The mayor telling me he is happy so far with the state and federal response. He said this city is resilient, but it will take some time to recover from the flood. Live in Goldsboro, Heather Wallaga, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.